Hey everyone, it's Afra here, and welcome in with this little cutie, this Miss Natalie. And this is we are doing our midnight routine, you guys. I'm gonna take her to bed, so I'll get her comfortable, and then we'll like read a story. Sometimes she'll listen to some music. Sometimes I put meditation on for her. We listened to like Baby Lullaby. I think that was like yesterday. Yesterday we did some Baby Lullaby meditation music. So just warm, cozy sounds. So you guys, I'm gonna take little Miss Natalie. Oh, oops. And I'm gonna show you that I'm taking her. Oh, sorry guys, I was gonna show you that I'm taking this little one to her little area here. I'm just gonna move the box. Okay. Oh, I gotta lay her down in her little area. Now, let's see if I can switch the camera over. Ah, I'll just see she's all in her bed. She's cozy. Yeah. And we're gonna go now and we're gonna read a story. So, guys, I'm gonna read a story. We're gonna read chapter 2. And I think you guys are just gonna watch the ceiling when I read the story. I'm reading Grimm's Fall Academy, Don't Feed the Glob. I read chapter 1 yesterday, so I think we are on chapter 2. Chapter 2, The Grumpy Beetle. Grimm Falls Academy was a boarding school, and the students slept in dorm rooms. Seb's room, which he shared with Victor, was in a tower at the front of the school. Victor's side of the room was neat and organized. It included his coffin, several shelves of books, stacked alphabetically, a mini fridge containing beetroot juice, a vegetarian vampire's favorite drink, and a desk. Seb's side couldn't be more different. Posters from classic monster films covered his walls. He never made his bed. He left peanut butter jars everywhere, and he used his floor as a closet. It was as if someone had drawn an invisible line down the center, separating the two sides. My glob doesn't like peanut butter, said Seb, sitting on his messy bed, watching his glob spawn bounce up and down. It keeps spitting it out. No one likes peanut butter, replies Victor. Well, except you. It always sticks to my things. What are you doing, Victor? Asked Tabby. She was lounging in Seb's old beanbag chair with a glob spawn laying still in her hand, trying to see what it's made of. Answer Victor. He was at his desk studying a small group of slime through a microscope. If I could figure that out, I don't need to waste time feeding it the wrong things. That's no fun, said Zeb, feeding his glob spawn half of a crispy coffin chocolate bar. Oh, it's like this? Hey, huffed Victor. That was mine. Zeb rolled his eyes. There are plenty more hidden inside your coffin. He unwrapped his last pumpkin candy and fed it to the glob. They were Seb's favorite. Not only were they sour tasting, but they could change the color of your tongue too. Seb let out a gasp and the glob began to grow and quickly change color, going from lime green to bright orange. That's so cool. Whoa, Tabby placed her glob spawn on the desk. They're such weird creatures. Victor let out a sigh. What is it? Wondered Tabby. He took a sip of water from a cup of his on his desk. Slime, Victor explained. It just looks like slime. He slumped back in his chair, which doesn't help with what to feed it. Victor's glob spawn crawled slowly across the desk like a slug. It slithered up the side of the glass tank, leaving a shiny trail behind. The tank contained Victor's pet beetles. Pet Spike. Give it some of this, urged Seb, holding on the rest of the crispy coffin bar. I don't want Globby to have too much sugar. Globby? Victor shook his head. You're not supposed to name them, Seb. Except the bright orange Globby swallowed the rest of the chocolate bar, along with the wrapper, in one big gulp, then bounced out of Seb's hand and landed on top of the tank. Bing, splat, boom, bing, splat. It bounced up and down repeatedly. Globby has definitely had too much sugar, giggled Tabby. She gently provided her glob spawn, sitting on the desk where she left it. It wobbled slightly under her touch. Mine has barely moved. Then, without warning, it let out a high-pitched squeak, jumped up with lightning speed, and latched itself to her hand. The noise of Victor lifting the lid of the glass tank woke Spike up. The giant beetle his shiny wings and exited the tank, landing on Seb's head. He clicked angrily. The grumpy beetle did not like to be disturbed when he slept. Hello to you too, smiled Seb. Sorry, Spike, said Victor, reaching in to grab a handful of seeds. I didn't mean to wake you. He scattered them in front of the tank and replaced the lid. Spike clicked once more, turned into a circle, and then settled back down to sleep in Seb's fur. The, the glob insistently went to the seeds and began gulping them down, growing with every seed they ate. Suddenly, Tabby groaned. I feel strange. There was a loud pop that started causing him to jump back in fright. Tabby had melted to the floor in an oozy, bubbling puddle. Chapter 3 is Tabby's slimy problem. The puddle quickly changed shape. Now it was a gooey mound of slime with Tabby's face. What's happening? She gurgled. The mound changed again. This time there was a head, but body was just wobbling green blob. It looked like Tabby had gotten herself stuck in a large pile of jelly with just her head poking out. Victor looked terrified. A frightened squeak escaped his lips, quickly followed by a poof of red smoke. Then Bat Victor zoomed straight into his coffin and slammed the lid shut. Seb could only stare at Tabby in amazement, his mouth hanging open. All at once, the glob spawn began bouncing around her. Peep, peep, peep. They reminded Zeb of hungry baby birds in the nest, chirping at the monster bird for food. They must think that you're one of them, said Zeb. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Victor, come out of your coffin. We need to figure out what to do. Tabby, the glob changed shape again. This time, just her lower half looked trapped. She was covering her face with her hands. Slowly she spread her fingers apart, peered at them. Am I me again? She asked. The glob bounced over her exactly. Oh, buzz off. The glob spawn was silent, and even though they didn't have eyes, Zeb could feel them staring at him. Nice glob spawn, gulped Zeb nervously, backing away. Nice globby. A series of angry clicking noises surrounded above his head. Spike, Sub called out. I forgot you were there. The giant beetle poked its head out of Sub's fur. Then he peered out of his hind wings and soared over the glob spawn with his legs outreached. He looked like a small superhero. Dun 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 dun! Superhero! Quickly as a flash, the glob launched themselves at Spike, sticking themselves in a giant flying insect. Spike instantly started to panic and flying around in circles. Higher, Spike yelled Sub. It was too late. Wham! The distressed beetle slammed into the desk, landing on his back. All of a sudden, the lid of Victor's coffin burst open. Get away from him, screeched Victor, rushing toward, waving his hands and arms around. The cup on the desk went flying, sending water sploshing over the globes. There was fizzling and bubbling before the globes shrank back down to their original size. They bounced around the desk, squeaking each other. Seb shook his head in disbelief. What just happened? Spike rolled back onto his 6 legs and let out an angry click. Thorn beetles were covered in hard shell that protected them. Spike wasn't happy, but he was unhurt. Victor scooped up the giant beetle, hugged him close to his chest, then placed him back inside his tank. You're safe now. Seb peered in at Spike. The beetle looked totally unfazed and was back to snoozing underneath his favorite leaf. Sorry, Victor mumbled, his pale cheeks flushing red. About hiding, I got scared. Seb nodded and turned to Tabby. Are you okay? You look like a glob, stated Victor, and that bright spark earlier. Tabby flared a little as if trying to cast a spell. Nothing happened, and in the end, she huffed in frustration. I don't know. I can't do any magic. What do you think it means? Victor shrugged. I just thought you were a witch, like Mrs. Hollow. But now I'm not so sure. Me neither, agreed Seb. I should talk to Professor Sternum, worried Tabby, almost tripping over her words in a rush to get them out. She wobbled, her legs were stuck in the slime like state, her body flicker between the solids. I need to talk to my grandma too, Tabby went on. She continued, and muffling to herself as she slithered out of the door, slamming it behind her. Seb and Victor exchanged a look as she left. After a moment, Seb pointed at the glove spawn, leaving a more shiny trail over the glass tank. So, what do we do with them? Spike's old tank, Victor replied. The one he's outgrown? It should be perfect for them. A few minutes later, the glob spawns were safely contained inside an old tank with some of Spike's food for them to eat. Then it was time for bed, and the sounds of glob spawns bouncing off the grass rang into Seb's ears as he drifted off to sleep. Thank you guys for being a part of her midnight, one of her midnight routines, and enjoying a couple chapters of a story. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. Until next time, you guys.